Video games were invented in 2008 when I found a Game Boy Color at a garage sale. The first ever game was Nintendo Game & Watch Gallery 3. Although this game experienced massive popularity at the time, it was the only game to be released for the Game Boy Color. To follow up on its success, however, Nintendo released in the same year the Nintendo DS. Hit games from this time include LEGO Star Wars, LEGO Batman, and LEGO Indiana Jones. The Nintendo DS was so successful, in fact, that Sony decided to follow it up with the first home console, the PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 2 was released in 2009 and spawned such hit titles as BMX Mountain Racing, The Simpsons game, and Madagascar 2. At this time, the most popular game by far was Need for Speed Most Wanted. However, its popularity sharply declined when the gaming audience realized that if you unplug the console when the cops chase you, it corrupts your save file. In the same year, 2009, Sony released the second ever home console, the PlayStation 3. With the release of the PlayStation 3 came the beginning of the so-called golden age of gaming. Gaming sales exploded at this time and a vast new library of games was produced. While at the time M-rated games did not exist because my parents thought they were too violent, T-rated games and below were uber popular, including Limbo, Infamous, and Portal 2. 1 year later, in 2012, the M rating was officially recognized by the ESRB when my parents decided that 15 was close enough to 17. It was in this year that Call of Duty was officially released for home console. The first ever Call of Duty game was, of course, Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 was massively successful at the time and received several sequels in the same year, such as Call of Duty Black Ops 1, Call of Duty World at War, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. In this year, the concept of online gaming was introduced. On PlayStation Network, gamers spent hours making friends with strangers and playing with friends. Despite the success, however, the golden age of gaming was soon to come to an end. The concept of pre-ordering was invented for Call of Duty Ghosts. Pre-ordering was never used again. In early 2018, the seeds of what would be known as the gaming renaissance were sowed. Around this time, the concept of indie games was created in order to save money. The new console, the Xbox One, came with a concept known as Game Pass, which allowed gamers to play any game for free, as long as their roommate wasn't using the Xbox. Once the Xbox One was discontinued in mid-2018, at the end of the school year, gaming once again suffered a decline in interest, until a massive event shook the world in March 2020. People started gaming again. It was at this time that Sony released the much-anticipated follow-up to the PS3, the PS5. With the PlayStation 5 came such hit games as Astrobot, Resident Evil Village, and Pajama Sam: No Need to Hide When It's Dark Outside. And so, in the 18 years since video games were invented, a lot has changed. Although no one knows the future of video games, such events as having a job have impacted gaming interest. I've been Ben G, and this has been a brief history of gaming, but only I exist.